This past year, this camera has been my most silent companion. To be honest, I didn't carry it every day, nor was I capturing every single moment. It didn't take me to grand mountains or distant seas, nor did it help me capture anything world-shaking. Most of the time, it just sat quietly in my bag or hung from my shoulder, recording the small, insignificant things that are so easily forgotten. Sometimes I can't help but wonder, without these photos, would the memory of these thousands of hours be nothing more than a blurred shadow in my mind? Buying this camera wasn't a carefully calculated plan. It wasn't about becoming a photographer or chasing technical perfection. Back then, I simply felt that life was moving too fast, so fast that every day slipped away in silence, leaving no trace. Too many moments feel unimportant when they happen, and it's only when they're gone forever that I realize how precious they were. So the camera became a reminder to slow down and to actually look rather than just see. Looking back at the shutter count from this year, I realized many photos were taken in motion, on the road, in the gaps between destinations. These photos aren't about where I was going. They're about the passing through. Some were during long trips, others during the most ordinary commutes. I rarely planned what to shoot. Instead, I chose to trust my instinct. Whenever the light or the atmosphere resonated with me, I would stop. Looking at these images now, I no longer see specific places. I see the rhythm of how I moved through life. As time went on, my frames became quieter. I started photographing empty spaces, deserted streets, silent buildings, and the stillness frozen in the air. Often, no one appears in the frame. This wasn't a conscious artistic choice. It just happened. Perhaps during that time, I craved that kind of silence, a need for more room to breathe. I used to delete the failures, the blurry ones, the poorly exposed ones, or the ones that felt awkward the moment I pressed the shutter. But now, I keep them all. Because those flaws are part of the moment itself. They are real. 1 year later, the biggest change hasn't been my technique, but knowing when to press the shutter and when to put the camera down. I still haven't developed a signature style or a grand theme. The camera didn't make me better, but it did make me more honest. It allowed me to see where I was and how I felt at that exact moment. I've come to realize that photos don't document the world as it is. They document how we see it. The same street can look completely different depending on your state of mind. It wasn't the world that changed, it was me. If I had to summarize this year, it would be an incredibly personal, incomplete, and even flawed summary, but it is real. I don't know what I'll photograph next year or how long this habit will last, but for now, these photos remember this year for me. They're like anchors, proving that I stayed there, that I looked closely. Photography can't stop time or keep everything from fading, but it gives me a reference point to look back on. It helps me understand how I became the person I am today. This year wasn't extraordinary, but I truly lived it and I truly saw it. And for me, that is enough.